Why I decided to run. So I have kids. I went to the school district when I was younger. And when Washington School was Washington School, and although Central was there, but I didn't go to Central. So during that time, when Washington School was Washington School, there was other opportunities for me, and I got to learn from the culture centers what we had, because I couldn't figure out some of the things that were going on, so I had to ask somebody else for help about what to kind of translate stuff, because our cultures learn differently. So the learning style back when I was younger was accepted, and people helped me with the culture centers we used to have. And then they disappeared sometime, and so I went to Venda and graduated over there to continue with the cultural piece for what I needed to graduate and what I needed to do to get past the barriers I faced. Not knowing what that was then, but understanding that I needed something different, because it's a tough road. I have a hard, tough road with the education stuff back then. So knowing that stuff and drawing off of it is one thing. And I have a foster home for Native kids, and we're predominantly in the system. In every aspect you can think of, our people are in the system at the higher rates of everybody. Knowing all those things are just a joy for me. So I'm like, how can I apply myself in the best way possible? And remembering history is like, so boarding schools history, there's theory behind that. It's theory. So I took away the trauma that I did, but the theory behind the children. That's what really affects and makes that ripple change and makes that happen. So I thought, how can I positively affect children's lives? So I have a foster home, I take care of kids, I work to change different policy like that so pipeline to school, I work with the city on Citizen Review Board. I was the first president with the city stuff. And
Citizen Review Board?
Yeah, I'm still on the review board. And I work to make relationships for the city and the police and everything like that, so that our families and our kids could survive the system here. And my people don't have trust for that. People of color don't have trust with police departments. So I wanted to make that better. And if I know I can help that change, I know I can help the city. Because working with police, and as a woman and a Native person, and then having a relationship with the police department and the city is possible, then we're looking at that board where my kids go to school. That's possible. That's possible. If I can work with the police and make better relationships there, then this can happen too. Like, I'm super optimistic about stuff. I just have that. There's no other way to be about it, because what else you got? There's no way to just sit there and not let nothing happen. If I'm not about the change, then might as well be the problem. So I'm not okay with that. And in our culture, the 7 generations theory, so my kids are going to be here past me. So I'm going to die, my people, my mom died at 62, my dad died at 35. So that makes me think, okay, there's something going on in between those ranges. What do I need to do before that happens? And how can I make that 7 generation stuff looking ahead to create more leaders, to create things that I'm working on so that they can have that kind of thinking forward. It's not about me no more. When you have kids, it's never about you again. Ever.
How many kids do you have, and what are their ages?
I have 2 9-year-olds, and I have a couple foster kids, and one is at Piedmont and one is at the ISD building where they go to school. Forget, excuse my thoughts here. She's
downtown here, you mean?
Yeah, she's right up where the administration is for the adult learning education building part. So she's in there and struggling with her education stuff, but working her butt off. I ain't having it no less. If you're gonna live with me, you're going to school, or you're gonna have a job, and you're gonna figure out how to do this. So it's well,
based on what you hear from your kids, how does it sound? Are things different now than when you were a student, or do you think they're better, worse, what?
So for my 17-year-old who's in adult learning stuff, GED classes up here, she has a harder time adapting to the education stuff. And when I was going to school, I had to adapt as well. So I had to adapt and go to a culturally specific school. And so that's not here, and this is a different school district altogether. But they don't have them opportunities for different ways to learn different avenues of learning. And then my 9-year-olds, they go to Piedmont, and she's just figuring out how to be 9. So she doesn't know. She just goes because she needs to, and it's a law, so she's just figuring out how to do that, and puberty's coming up, oh my God, so it's nuts. So they just talk about that they like school, they like to have fun, and they like to eat, and all these things. So the older one, she has a little bit harder time. She went to Denfeld, and then she dropped out, and then now she's at ALC. Sorry, I'm catching up myself here. Yeah, she's at ALC now. So she's having a harder time just adjusting for whatever reason that is. So she's a foster child, and she comes in from a different, we have the same belief systems, but different families are at different levels of this belief system that we live in. So knowing that structure and just accepting kids when they come with them issues and working on it from there, just going forward. And that's where that forward thinking I have about policy, like I work so much stuff in the city and work different board levels I do. I'm often the only Native person, the only person at the table almost all the time, because the stigma is horrifying for people and they have a harder time coming to the table just because stigmas between relationships are difficult. And I would attend board meetings, and I work with certain levels with the school board now at different venues. So I know that everybody from different areas will work, so I would just go to their meetings because I have kids in the school. Then I start seeing patterns of behaviors, and I was thinking, okay, my kids don't need that.
Can you be specific? What do you mean? What are you saying?
So there's nobody there that looks like me or my kids, for one thing. Nobody's sitting at that table that is reflective of the people of color, the community, that specific kind of voice that needs to be heard, not just people of color. So that, and then underrepresented voice. Like I was born into that life. That usually people like me don't ever get heard unless we put it out there like this. So understanding that, I went thinking, and I always have that lens because that's what I was born to. There's just no other way for it. So, and then the relationships and the strengthening that needs to happen with the board, that needs to be strengthened a little more, and I want to be a positive influence to that. I don't have bad relationships with anybody on the board. That's my thing. I want good relationships, and I'll work to have them. I work hard, whatever it needs to do to make that happen. Because it's about my kids. It's about our kids that we have to live here. That's huge. We're not, my family, we don't live on the res. We don't do that. We're here. So, and we came here early when I was like 10, so I'm used to the living in the city stuff, and that thinking forwardly doesn't help me to just be stuck in things. Just doesn't. So, and my kids don't have the opportunity to be stuck and use it as an excuse. It's just not okay. So I want to help strengthen the board with the work they need to get moving on and get forward. Let's get past some of this stuff and kind of move things along. Don't have this time that people think they do. I don't have that time. My mom died and my dad died super early, so I'm just thinking, the clock's ticking, people.
That's not even a watch.
Yeah, I know. You can see that.
But you mentioned the barriers that you struggled with as when you were a student, and you see some of the things now with your kids. Now you're talking also about the toxic environment, I think, on the school board. What do you see as the number one issue for you, or is there several?
So barriers for me when I was growing up, and then there's different levels of barriers. So let's see if I could find. So the rate that people of color, especially in different area codes, zip codes, pass away and are dying because of the different barriers that we face. So I live in Lincoln Park, food desert. If I didn't have a car, I wouldn't be able to get that done. I wouldn't be able to feed the kids, kind of thing. That all connects to the education. Like if my kids can't get something to eat and they have to go to school, they're not going to be sitting there at school. And then there's like the class sizes that are an issue. They're not going to get nothing fully met at that kind of the circular work. The food, the housing, the family, the this, the that. that all has to be worked on in itself. There's just tons of barriers that can be worked on that way. So I want to be able to help with some of that understanding and know that and just kind of work forward to that stuff. I think moving forward is a thing that needs to be happening right now. They went through the Long Ridge Facilities Plan. They went through all that. That's not about me. I wasn't there for that. I don't have nothing to say about that because I don't know anything about it. We need to keep going, keep moving, and get things done that need to be done. The retention for teachers, the support for staff. I had a son in Lincoln Park School. I could have had an office there. They just knew me so much.
Middle school?
Yeah, the new middle school up there. I was there every day because he was ADHD and the relationships he couldn't have, and then there wasn't enough teacher to student time. 1 per 32 is too much. And so having community support, so some of my vision for that would be, and I'm a huge collaborator, I do lots of collaboration work. So it would be the Think Kids model, but make it deeper, go deeper with that. Go smaller go into communities like Lincoln Park, wherever these little communities are, but go deeper and smaller groups of meeting with families. For instance, sit at a table, take notes of what everybody's talking about, even if they're mad, I don't care, write it down, just write it down, just write it down. Keep writing it down until everybody feels heard. And then people will start to trust if they're feeling heard. They want to feel heard, especially about their kids. We know how to raise our kids. You guys know how to raise your kids. We know how to do that. But at different levels, people don't feel heard. So at least to be able to just write stuff down, listen to them, hear them, give them a minute to go. Go. Do whatever you want to tell me, and I'll take it. And then kind of do that everywhere. And then glean that out, and you'll find themes, things that need to work on, things that need to be talked about, different things that need to happen, and I'm all about stuff like that. I'd love to listen to. I don't care if they're mad. It doesn't bother me like that.
Think Kids so far was just a good start.
I liked it.
And let's dive deeper.
I love that. Okay. Actually, it's a great thing.
You touched a little bit on class sizes and the opportunities. You have overcrowded classes in the east and so few students at like Denfeld and the Western Middle School. You mentioned Lincoln Park Middle School. That they can't offer all of the same extracurriculars and all the same classes. How can we bring some balance back?
So with collecting the data from parents, you can get different parental groups involved. Also, I've also done Cross-Cultural Alliance of Duluth, which is a collaboration effort between different cultures and people, and having outlets. At one point, I was working with Lincoln Park to bring Cross-Cultural Alliance into Lincoln Park School and have a club area for that school so kids could come there and just, if they need to smudge or just sit somewhere and do homework in some space, or have somewhere where they could just decompress whatever it is going on, because something kind of sometimes is going on at home if they can't figure out something here. So kind of have that place where it's safe that way. So that's an option too with Cross-Cultural Alliance, and ask the community for that and get positive influence on there and support that work, because when I went to the school and my kids saw me, they were like, okay, yeah, all right. And I said, I'll come sit with you right in your class. I will sit there. Okay, you know, I know your mom, and I know your mom. I think I'm calling them. Okay, you know, so that puts an impression on kids. That because there's not enough support, because there's not enough, it's always about money, it's a money issue and all these different things that we're dealt with now. We gotta figure out, get the community involved and help with their kids. And they want to, but they're kind of afraid to do that stuff and they don't know how to. And someone to give them that permission to say, it's okay for you to come, just come on, I'll help you. And that's kind of my thing. I'm always like, I'll help you, come on, let's do this. I can teach you how to do it, I'll do it. I'll help you do it, but you're gonna do it on your own after I help you. Okay, so kind of doing that whole kind of work would help with the kids and getting that stuff moving forward. So I feel like I'm just babbling. So.
What? Just out of curiosity, what is the time commitment to being a school board member?
Time commitment?
Yeah.
So they do regular meetings and they have 3 meetings a month if they really throw you on all kinds of boards and stuff. So it's probably 3 meetings a month with them, and then whatever outside stuff you're willing to do in other schools. So I guess more of what you want to put into it kind of thing. So, but I'm guessing, so I go to the meetings now, and it's about 3 meetings a month, and depending on what they're working on, hours, it could be hours, or it could be, just depends on them and the work. But 4-year terms, I get that. And then lots of training, and I'm looking forward to that, so I love that stuff. I don't know why, I'm weird.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be involved whether you're elected or not.
Yeah, I'm always, like, I can't help it. My kids are in here, and I have to do that. And then I do, so police, I do citizen review board, I do civil service. So civil service is directly involved with the district and every government job that's here. So I'm on the civil service board, which oversees and helps and passes some of those things. So that's kind of, and I'm going to be involved no matter if I'm on this board or not, doesn't matter. It's just, it'll benefit in a lot of different ways to build the bridge. I can help build bridges with being involved in different avenues and being involved in different things, and I'm respectful of other people's. I try not to overstep anything, really careful, and then give permission for people to have real dialogue with me. Like, just say what you need to say so we can get past the racial stuff, because that's hard for people to say. They want to work on things, but then they don't know how to talk about the racial things that are hard. And I'm like, okay, just say that so we can get past that. I know you're not being like this, so let's work on that. And that's important. People I think here really want to work on things. I have full faith in this city, you know, I just do. Every time I'm talking about Duluth, I love Duluth. I'm going home. See you guys later. I want to go home.
Well, you brought it, how big or how serious do you see Duluth's racial problem?
Well, I live it every day. So it doesn't go away for me. Just yesterday we were knocking on doors, and my daughter has a potty problem at 9, trying to figure herself out. And we're way out east knocking, and the guy at the out east store says, "You can't be in here unless you're buying something." I was like, "My little girl needs a potty, and you just can't be enough." And I was like, okay. But I let her go potty anyway. You're gonna have to pick me up if you're gonna. So between me and my kids and going potty and having to pee on the street, what would you guys want? How would that look? Not okay. So it's every day for us. And overall, working in the work I do, people are generally respectful, and a lot of people have a different view than I would, because I'm so involved with trying to make and help and create change and giving possibilities, especially when it comes to police work. People just almost hammering down my door with trying to prove something else, and I'm like, hey, just get involved. You'll see what's going on. So I'm super optimistic about it because I'm involved so much, and I love to make the positive change happen. Plus, knowing that I'm not going to be here forever. I know that. So my kids need to figure out how to be here. It's my thinking that way, and we're taught like that we're not going to be here forever. You need to think about that and keep moving on your kids and keep doing this and whatever.
You mentioned the long-range facilities plan, and that wasn't your deal, but you know there's still aspects that are lingering. The sale of Central High School and other properties. Well, one of them, of course. How can the district better market Central and the other properties to get them sold and help the bottom line? Or what do you think should happen with those properties, especially Central?
Yeah, I think that when I get in that position, I want to make sure to have the full knowledge of that whole situation before I can make any assumptions about how to sell that giant property based on the school district's back. So I can't really answer that until I get up into the business and really have a look at these things and really think about how to market that out, or where or who that goes to, or who's interested in that, because that's huge. That's a lot of money, and I know we need that, but I can't just answer something like that because I'm not in that right now. But I'll be definitely interested in how we're doing that when we're doing that. So.
Okay. What about the plans for a charter high school, Edison? And the impact that might have on the district, especially with regard to the enrollment. What should the district be doing to prepare for that?
Well, everybody's alarmed by that. I hear people talking about that often because some of our kids go to Edison and the other school, and they're great plans, but I know that it takes away from, in other ways, it takes away from our district and our kids' relationships with the weirdness of it all. But so it's all a ripple effect to me. The way that I view it and stuff is, if we're not being able to offer certain things at this level, but they can do that, then what are parents thinking? That's what really is the thing. What do parents want? And if it's the parents that believe in what we're doing, it would be back to that think kids process. What do parents want to see? If no one's out here talking about anything about the school district positively, they're going to look somewhere else. They are. If no one cares about what their kids need, they're going to look somewhere else. And that's where some of that will go away to the new school coming in 17, right? 2017 or something, I hear.
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's concerning. I do think about that, about what we do, but I need to get a hold of those families. We need to get a hold of the families and say, hey, this is a great district. Let's see what we can do. How about your help? Let's do this. So really advocating that way, I'm big with that. I want to know what the parents need. I want to know what the kids need. I want to know, and then I'm going to push that. And I'm known for that. I'll bring that. I'll drive things if I think that this needs to be done, and I will not take no. I'll be willing to work on things that need to be done. Put in the hard work because I have to. I believe in it.
Okay. You mentioned on the Citizen Review Board and the Civil Service Board. Is there any other civic activities? And also, what do you do for a living? Or?
I work with Community Action Duluth as the employment liaison, so I'm into everything employment.
Oh, yeah.
And every level of that. And then so civil service is directly related to that. Citizen Review Board, I definitely deal with all kinds of different levels with different stuff with the police department. They're into everything as well. So putting and working through them together is great work. And then I do like nonprofit development. I develop CC, Cross Cultural Alliance of Duluth, is a nonprofit development that I developed, and then based on cultural values that I come from. So I put all the demographics on a board of directors level, a co-chair, Native and African American woman, me and Janet Kennedy, and then I have an elders panel who oversees, with the same demographics, that oversees the work we're doing, so we're being holistic, and then a youth board also, telling you. All that is some work. So getting all these relationships to happen, and then apply for stability, and apply for grants, and apply for all this. That's one board I work on, and then I work on the DOM board, and I do different food access places. They don't have demographic of my people, so I go and help with them things, but not sit on them boards all the time. Drive me crazy. So giving my input, and they don't have no one to give that input, especially from my culture, they need somebody, and trying to create those leaders so that I don't have to be the only one doing that all the time would be another thought I'm working on. So it's just, it's crazy, but school district, especially from my culture's background, and how that theory, the thinking theory of creating the school historical trauma stuff we went through, that's a theory. And good or bad, however it affected my people, but it's strategy, it's theory, taking away that stuff, like I said earlier, using that theory about the kids, and positive. So I want to change that historical stuff. My family, my mom was in boarding school, my grandma was, so it's right with me all the time, and that's why I think like that. So taking that, but in a different scale, and making it a positive change or effect, or at least give it a shot and see if I can do that. But it's a big dream, and I know that, but I think it can happen. So
you had to advocate for your kids with the school administration at the school. You know, what kind of advocacy have you had to have for your kids?
For my kids, so I went to Denfield and Lincoln and East and talked about, separate those out. So I went to Lincoln, and my two boys, 1 grade apart, causing chaos. I know that they were causing chaos. That's just all they are. So I went there knowing that, and then I went in there accountable. Like, I know my sons they're ADHD, both of them. I get that, and they have Native history that the stuff you don't know about them this is what it is. Explain to the teachers and the special ed or the classes they were in about that. And just really having a conversation and making a relationship so that relationship can affect my kids. Same thing with Denfeld. I went to Denfeld with my oldest boy who was trying to play sports and he was great at it, but he didn't make the team and he wasn't happy about it. And he just started causing all kinds of havoc because if you're ADHD and you can't run and get that out, then you're gonna blow up on everybody. You're ticking. So I know that about him. And when they're talking about, can I have a meeting? And I got everybody that I needed to get at the table and talked about, this is what's gonna happen if my boy doesn't. I know he didn't make the team. I'm not saying he needs to make the team. So I kind of went in there with accountability that way and kind of said, I know this is what we're doing. This is what we need help on. I know that you guys are trying, but can we work on something? And so that he passes and he gets things he needs and we can still keep him in the system and keep him here because he needs to stay here. He can do this. It's just different for him, all these issues. So I come with accountability and I go respectfully gonna ask people to come to the table and work on this stuff with me if they're able to. Then I went to East with different racial stuff my boys said they had, and I went to talk to them about it the same way. I was like, this is what my kids are saying. Can we work on this? Can we talk about this? Can we think about this maybe? Sure, yeah, and everybody was really helpful. So I thought, wow, this is really cool. I like that. So I kind of took all those experiences and thought, relationships and being respectful and just coming in a good way and asking for help and telling them this is where my kids are and this is how they stand and could you help? What are the things that could help and what could I do better? So I came like that, just come in like that. And then as far as like the board level, I would come that way too. Yeah, wake me up. So with the board,
car out there somewhere.
Oh, I think the same stuff with the board, the school board, the relationships I have now, just strengthen them. And people get heated on situations, and that's just work. That's just how it is. It's not personal. I won't take that stuff personal. I have too much other stuff to take personal, like my mom dying at 62, my dad dying at 35. That's a lot for me to think about. So that other stuff, and then that's kind of how I would come at working with relationships, building them so we can get things moving easier and better. And if we have to argue, we have to argue, but at least move past that. At least let's agree to move past things if we're going to work on stuff for our kids. That's my thing. Huge with this stuff like that.
Just have a couple more moments, a couple more minutes. Just in closing, why should voters support Renee VanNett?
Because I'm definitely thinking about moving forward for our children. It's about families. It's about what our kids need. It's about, like, if you want me to ask for something or talk about something, I'll ask about it, even if I'm the only one asking about it by myself. I have stood alone 1 billion times, and I will do it again, and I keep doing it. If someone needs me to find out something, I will. I definitely want to go into the communities and ask parents what's going on. I definitely do that. I'm not any different than anybody else. So I think just advocating for our families and getting the needs met for our kids and strengthening our children to strengthen this whole city is really what it needs to happen, is the ripple effect work. Strengthening our kids' lives so that it strengthens everything, because they're going to do government work, they're going to be teachers, they're going to be sitting here one day. What are we doing to affect that? That is where I'm at, and that's why people should be thinking about what we need.